There is one more important concept that I want to cover, and after that we can move on to our game. This concept is called as your local and global variables. For this, I want you to create a new folder right over here, and I want you to call that folder as Scratchpad. You can utilize this folder for writing small programs and for doing small experiments. I always create and use a Scratch folder. Let's create one file inside of this folder and let me name it as variable scopes. Let me put up a heading right over here. So we are going to talk about global and local scopes. Before that, let us try to understand one more concept. All of these files that we are creating, these files are technically called as modules. So in the world of Python, all of these files are modules. Now let's go back to our file. Inside our module, if we declare a variable like this, num is equal to 10, that means this variable has a global scope. That means anyone inside our module can use this variable. Any function or any functionality or any variable inside the module can use this variable. So let's create a function called as print global num, and this is simply going to print out our number. Let me save it and let me invoke it right over here. So I can say print global number. We can do a slight improvement over here. We can use a formatted string and we can say global number is, and this is my number. Now let us try to execute this file, and we have an output saying that the global number is 10. Now let us see what happens if we declare one more function and if we declare the same variable inside that function. So let me create a new function by the name of print num. This does not accept anything, and inside this function let me assign a value of 20 to the variable of num, and let us try to print out and see what values we are getting over here. So I can use my formatted string. My local number is num. Let us invoke this function and let us see what we are getting. Let me run this file, and here is the output. Now watch closely what's happening. On line number 8 we have declared that the num is 10, and on line number 16 we are saying that num is equal to 20. Now what happens is, whenever Python sees we have the same variable, Python is going to create a new variable called as num, and this variable is available only inside our variable of print num, and that's it. So this is also called as variable shadowing. Now please keep in mind that this variable shadowing can introduce a lot of bugs, and these bugs can be really difficult to debug. Just to demonstrate, let me go right over here and let me say I want to print my num. Let me save it and let me try to run it. So here you can see the global num is 10, but on the second line the local number is 20, and this 20 is coming from our line number 17. So this variable is accessible only inside this function, and it is not valid outside. Outside, only this number that we have declared on line number 8 is visible. That's why we are getting the output of 10 right over here. Now let us see how we can access this global variable and how we can do some operations on it. Let us create a new function by the name of increment number. Here we simply want to increment our number by 2, so we can say my num plus equal to 2. But what's happening right over here is Python is seeing that we are doing some sort of an operation on num. So Python is going to create a new variable. We want to increment the global num. So we have to explicitly tell Python that, hey Python, I want you to use the global num, and that's it. Let me put up some comments. So I have a comment for this one, and this one is my function or my local scope, and this one for my global declaration. Let me save it. Now let me increment the number and then we can print it out. So let me say that I want to increment the number. Let me save it and let me try to run it. So this time we can see the global number is 12. Now let's see one more behavior of the global number. So here let me create a new function by the name of increment my local num, and here I am saying that my new number is equal to my existing number plus of 10, and let me print out my new number right over here. Now can you tell me what is going to be the output of line number 30? Well, we don't have to guess, we can simply run the program and let's see what output we are getting. So let me invoke the function right over here. So I can say my new function, I want to invoke it. Let me save the file and let me run it. So as you can see, I'm getting the output as 22. Let us see what's happening right over here. So as you can see on line number 29, the value inside num is 12. You can see that's what it is. And since we are creating a new variable and we are trying to assign value to the new variable, Python is taking this num from the global scope. In the global scope, the value is 12 and we are trying to add 10. That's why the new number is 22. In the next video, we will go back to our game and let us see how we can divide all of the logic into small functions.